Hello, everybody. Welcome to the United Front. This year transfer. Oh shit! Well, no transfer. The January transfer was gone, but obviously one of our transfers, obviously new signing, LAMMENS. Obviously, here we go. We announced it yesterday. Um, I obviously wanted to do a bit of bit. Basically I did my homework on LAMMENS. So, and obviously I felt like I wanted to do this video because it's a position that I'm fondly understand with. So yeah, obviously LAMMENS, obviously new United keeper as we know. Apparently there were questions about was he gonna be our number one, or is he gonna be a number two? Already people clowning him. I mean that's social media, so you can't really do anything about that. Um, and obviously what is his strengths and what are his weaknesses. So let's get into it. So obviously this is coming stats wise. So obviously I feel like the most impressive stat is prevented goals. 15.81. That's pretty impressive. I mean, what was De Gea's? I think De Gea when he was in his prime, like that 17-18 season, he had around 12 point something. And that's David De Gea for you, and he was in his bloody prime. Obviously, I know people are gonna say, "Well, that's in the Belgium league," but what does that mean? I mean, does that mean the Belgium league is competitive because of the amount of what chances that, um, well, not chances. I probably say the word chaotic, because look, I think in a league like the Belgium league, obviously I don't think it's nowhere near the top five. I don't even think is even better than Eredivisie or the Portuguese, let alone the top five leagues. So obviously, when I heard that he was gonna be picked over Emi Martinez, I thought, you know what, making a huge step to the Belgium league, all the way to the Premier League, and not only it's just any Premier League team, Man United, and for players as we all know, it's always not been a great place to always go to, and thrive. So look, he's gonna be under pressure. He's 24. Technically, that's still young for a keeper. Um, but look, as I've obviously seen from stats wise, I feel like they're pretty impressive. And obviously, I know people are gonna say they're in the Belgium league, but still, you have to make a save whether you're in the Sunday league or in the Champions League. I mean, still, and obviously, don't forget he was obviously um, potential one of the young goalkeepers to come through, and obviously, some people call him the Courtois. I don't know. Is that a bit of a stretch? I mean, look, because he's Belgium, you're just gonna say, Courtois. Um, but yeah, I've seen. Look, I know it's easy to say. I've seen clips. I've seen what do you call it? Reels of him saving, and then obviously there's been mistakes. Now, obviously, we'll go into the strength. So obviously, 15.81, which is pretty impressive because prevented goals. He is a better shot stopper clearly than Onana, and obviously Bayern there. Most saves in Europe, 178. So it shows that he is reliable, and obviously how many times has he saved Royal Antwerp? I mean, the amount of saves he's made. Most shot conceded, 230. So, um, look, if you basically take away that, he's basically conceded what 52 goals. I mean, not fit. Sorry, not 50. That's shots. Sorry, not goals conceded. Sorry about that. Shots. So look, 178, 230 shots conceded. So that's pretty good. I don't know what that is in percentage, but I'm pretty sure it's high. And we don't know the shots. It's on target. So surely some of them have been goals, but I mean, it is pretty impressive when you have 178 saves, and then obviously you have shots conceded as being 230. Uh, Most land exit. So that's him coming off the obviously out of his box. So obviously he's a rush keeper, which is obviously good. Progressive passing. So there's still a bit of um about him about sweeper keeping. So obviously that's good because obviously nowadays the football is evolved, and obviously you got players, goalkeepers playing out the back. So that is obviously a plus. most possession one, which is really good. And obviously most interception. So I know people can say, well, it's like we've probably seen this from Anana or someone, but I think when you see someone like LAMMENS who's young, I feel like it's for a project. Now my problem with this signing is obviously he's young, he's 24. I mean, is he ready to handle the pressure at United? Is he ready for that big step? Um, and there was another one. Look, going to Man United and obviously try be the number one. Look, apparently he could be number two, which I don't want because there was no point signing a keeper, and um, he's on the bench. It just doesn't make sense. Now, obviously, I understand because once we come back, if he does become our number one, the first game is City, and that's probably like, all these mainstream idiots licking their lips to find, LAMMENS fail or whatever. So, I just think it is obviously tough to obviously start obviously your first game against City. Despite how bad they are, look, it's City. You shouldn't underestimate them. You can say the same with us. We could be bad and we can still beat top teams. So, but I didn't hear his weakness was coming out from crosses. Now, it's not crossing. It's not set pieces where it's like buying there. With his problem is that is when he comes out. So when he comes out, he kind of misses the ball. Like, what's the word? Overexerts himself. It's almost like a Nana, but the thing with a Nana is he doesn't even go for the ball. He just goes for the player. I hope LAMMENS is not that. The difference between him and Bayern there, well, shits himself. So he doesn't know whether to stay in his box or go for the cross. Like, he's just stuck in there. Whereas LAMMENS, he can, play with a high risk, let's just say. So I think obviously, look, he's 24. He is gonna learn. I remember I don't remember. I wasn't watching football, but I did see David De Gea when Sir Alex Ferguson got him. He was making mistakes, and then people thinking, well, who's this guy? He's short. He doesn't look like he could be a part of Man United. And look, you obviously look at years going by, and he was our, most reliable keeper in this, tough era we had. So, I just think, obviously, look, when you look at LAMMENS, can he be that player? I don't know. We have to see, obviously, because for most people, we haven't seen LAMMENS, and obviously we need to see if he can handle the pressure of the Premier League, because making a huge step, like I said, to the Belgium League is a huge step in its own ways. So yeah, but look, I want him to do well. Obviously, if you ask me who I'd prefer, I'd want to Emi Martinez because he's experienced. I feel like he can handle the pressure, and if he got scrutiny, I feel like he could, brush it away. Whereas with LAMMENS, if he makes one mistake, and I want people to understand, if he makes a mistake, don't hammer him. Don't lower his confidence straight away because he is gonna make mistakes. Now, obviously, depending on the mistakes that he could make, like, I don't know, Anana. Apparently people call him the Belgium Anana. Hopefully he can shut that out and say, you know what, I'm nowhere near Anana. And look, hopefully he does well because, he can prove those people to say, you know what, if you think that you wanted Martinez over me, then I'll show you why I was the right choice instead of Martinez. So, no, obviously, if he does become our number one keeper, obviously it's a big test, especially against City. I thought maybe obviously Amrin will eventually start Sesko, but I feel like with LAMMENS, if he is a number two, I feel like he would try and compete with Bayern there and Onana, and obviously easing him to the team, and obviously obviously we don't have a cup a cup game. Apparently, I'll talk about that. But I just think, compete with Bayern there, compete with Onana, because obviously we got, look, City and Chelsea, and let's just say he doesn't start, I'd probably say, you know what, maybe start buying them both of them, and probably Brentford or Sunderland. I'd probably say stick LAMMENS if he is number two, but I want him to be number one because you don't make a signing on deadline day to be your number two. You buy a keeper who is better than buying their Ananana, and we obviously need to see if he is better than buying their Anana. But obviously, judging by stats, it's positive. But at the same time, we've seen stats before, whether it's a keeper, whether it's an outfield player, it just doesn't, replicate the player that they were before until they joined Man United. So that's obviously the question. And you know what? To be honest, I mean, I'm not really I'm a bit surprised, but I'm not a bit surprised at this signing because when you look at Amarin Sporting, he had this keeper called Adan, and he was, I think, probably mid-30s. And then he had this player called Israel, and probably you guys would know because he actually played against City in the Champions League. And I thought to myself, you know what, Amarin's playing him over that, that experienced keeper. So I thought, you know what, I saw that and thought, you know what, there's a reason why he went with LAMMENS over Martinez because he's looking for the, he's looking at young players and thinking, you know what, develop the, and obviously for the future, because obviously Amarin is a keen person when it comes to youth. So, that's where you get Ahmad. Obviously, you look at Yoro, you look at Heaven, you look at Fredrickson, Amas. There was another one, Chido. So, and look, probably more to come, Sekou Kone. So, Amarin is a fond when it comes to young players. So, it really makes sense in a way that, you know what, probably Amarin was that profile player, even that age gap as well. Obviously, look, I think probably 22 to 25, he probably won it. And that's why they got LAMMENS. But they didn't get LAMMENS because of age-wise, because you could go for anyone else. They checked to see, in terms of stat-wise, if he's good or not. And they didn't. That's why they went with him. So, look, hopefully he does well. I want him to do well. I want him to be like, I don't know, like probably I want him to look. Basically, I want him to be up there with De Gea, Schmeichel, and Van der Sar, which is obviously not easy because they're obviously legends. So but obviously it is obviously a big task ahead. Obviously, playing for a team like United. So yeah, I just want to talk. He did say some quotes, so just trying to check. Obviously, he's wearing the number 31. So this is what he said. So he said, first of all, this move is my dream move. When I was 5, United was at the height of football, and you keep in your memory how big Manchester United is. So when I heard they were interested, it was like a childhood dream. So you could probably say he's a United fan. I mean, big dubs, but it's great. He even said, I remember being a kid, Manchester United winning the Champions League and winning the league. And also, I want to help the team to get to that level that you can compete for the title again and to play in the Champions again. So, you like that determination. That's what you want to hear. But, look, we've seen this from interviews and we've seen it from so many people and it just doesn't work out. Hopefully, it doesn't happen with LAMMENS. And he succeeds. That's about it. Because when you're a goalkeeper, especially for Man United, it's the people would say it's above, and I'd probably say yes, because if you're a striker that doesn't score, you probably get you probably get scrutiny. But compared to a keeper, if he concedes a goal and people think, he should have saved that, then it's like it's goalkeeping so hard that fans and media would expect you to keep a bloody clean sheet every day, and everyone knows keeping a clean sheet is like it's like keeping a clean sheet is almost compared to scoring 1 or 2 more goals for a striker, because it's not easy unless you're very world class in its own way. Then obviously, if I compare LAMMENS to I don't know, Haaland. Haaland's hat trick is basically compared to LAMMENS making a clean sheet. That's how important that's what you can say. The praises for a keeper, keeping a clean sheet. This has obviously come from the Athletic. So LAMMENS has yet to find the right balance between when to claim a high ball and when to wait for an extra beat. His aggression occasionally leads him to overexert himself, which I did say, because when coming for the ball, he's almost like in a hurry, coming out, leaving his goal exposed. When it comes to claiming high balls, he's not at the level of Premier League leading lights like Martinez or Arsenal's David Raya. So, I mean, would I say it's criticism? Like, I wouldn't say it's criticism because you're trying to compare. Obviously, that is his weakness. Every keeper has his weakness. There's no shame to have it. He's obviously young. He's bound to obviously improve on that weakness and make it his. You never know. His weakness could be his biggest strength in what, couple of years. So I feel like he could obviously improve on that. And look, he's got many years ahead of him. My problem with this signing is that, again, it's a huge step, but at the same time, Amrin keeps saying it's for the future. But my question is, would Amrin be at United for that long? That is the question. So when he keeps saying, "Oh, it's for the future," or whether it's Jason Wilcox or Sir Jim or whatever, and they say it's for the future, you never know. If Tenar's sacked, then you're thinking to yourself, the next manager that comes in, he might not want LAMMENS, and you're thinking, well, he's for the future, but the manager says I don't want him. So people need to realize that if you're getting LAMMENS, you're obviously given another reason to keep Amrin, because you want him to have his own team. And he's almost there. Like, obviously getting Cunha, Embuemo, Sesko, Dorgu, LAMMENS, and I'll probably say Ugarte because it is his own guy anyway. So that's about 6 players. That is technically his own players. So, But anyway, that's LAMMENS. I wanted to also talk about apparently this came from, I don't know where it is. So apparently United, when they faced Grimsby Town, apparently Grimsby had a player that was ineligible, so technically he wasn't supposed to play. And it's almost like, well, what does that mean? Because it's almost like you're making a big thing about it. I'm just trying to see. So obviously this came from Mark Goldbridge is basically saying this. So surprising United aren't appealing that Grimsby illegal player thing. Morally, yeah, it's a big low, but we're broke. Being back in the tournament could be worth millions. So bro's on the pitch for the last 25 minutes. If you hadn't come on, we won. So, I mean, hang on a minute. So this is where it is. So teams do not get disqualified for playing players that were registered late. Grimsby were fine, just like Liverpool were the same reason. So obviously Mark Goldbridge did skate. If Grimsby fielded an ineligible player, then they broke the rules end off. A minute over or not, the rules are the rules. Kick them out and let us back in. Now I don't know if this is sarcasm, but I don't know if it's if that means anything. Now I know people are gonna say if it was possible for us to get back into the League Cup, then people are actually saying we don't want to go back because they don't want to face embarrassment. And I'm thinking to myself, are you guys serious? Like, you guys are ashamed of losing to Grimsby. You don't want revenge. And I'm thinking to myself, you guys are willing to let a loss go by and not get revenge. And this is why, because I don't understand. It's not even football wise. It's even in life itself. People always say revenge is best served on a silver platter. Well, that's what the saying is. And I'm thinking to myself, if we lost to Grimsby, and it was embarrassing, obviously, why don't you have the chance to obviously, you know, get revenge? You know, I hardly see. Look, I hardly see any. This is obviously rare. Obviously, to lose and then obviously find out. It was something that was you know, that broke the rules, and then obviously you have a second chance. The only time you get second chances if you played in the Champions League, in those knockout round legs. So, you know, you're not gonna get this from United. You're not gonna get a second chance. And look, if Man United do appeal for this, it's better than go into a competition where you can get millions, even if you like lose a bit of money for appealing it. So it's just that, look, we should have not lost to Grimsby, but the way we played, I understand why people say we shouldn't go back. But then at the same time, it just shows it just shows that cowardice. That's not even a fucking word. It just shows Man United being coward. Even Man United fans, I'm thinking to myself, you guys don't even want to face Grimsby. And I'm thinking to myself, you're not facing fucking Liverpool in the League Cup. You're facing Grimsby. So I don't understand if you guys are constipated or something, that you're so scared of Grimsby that the fact that you don't even want to get back if it was possible. I don't understand. I mean, you guys are saying, oh, we don't want to get back because we don't want to face embarrassment. You're talking as if we're facing Liverpool City or Arsenal or any big club, Or maybe if we were in Europe and we got knocked out, by Real Madrid, and they did something that broke the rules and it gave us the chance to, I don't know, play them again, that makes sense. But this is Grimsby we're talking about, so I don't understand. I mean, it's amazing how, as a team in this past decade, we shit our pants, whether it was City, whether it was Liverpool, and then obviously Arsenal, and then Chelsea. Actually, I wouldn't put Chelsea because they bloody draw with us. And Tottenham. And then obviously you go mid-table. And then obviously you go relegation. We're scared of, fucking Grimsby now. It just doesn't make sense. So, but I haven't seen anything where, I haven't seen anything where we should be obviously, be going into the competition. I don't know if that's even possible, but if we do get the opportunity, I'd say yes, take it, because I'm thinking, why not? But if we don't, then it is what it is. We lost to Grimsby and it just stays with us forever. But yeah, that's really what I wanted to talk about. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Do you think LAMMENS will be a hit or a flop? Take care, see you in the next one.